today we're talking about falling into a deeper understanding of ourselves, falling into a deeper appreciation and recognition of ourselves. How content are we in ourself currently? How strong is our connection to the spirit within? How can we learn to dive deeper into the power and the strength that resides within us? Isaiah chapter 40, verse 10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And the right hand is generally understood to be a place of refuge and salvation and protection. And so for us in the CSL community and Unity and New Thought communities, we know that God is right here within us. Spirit, divine mind is right here inside us. We don't have to reach out anywhere. It's already right here. So how are we tapping into that? Today I'm going to give you a couple of stories of some of my recent experiences, and we're going to see how that relates to falling deeper into ourselves and honoring who we are. I did recently come back from Unity Village, which for Unity Ministries, that's their home office, their home base out in Kansas City, Missouri. It's a beautiful campus, about 1,800 acres, and we had the Positive Music Festival there. It started out at Unity Village, then it moved to Tampa for about 10 or 15 years, and we have recently moved it back up to Unity Village. And I had not been because I had been caretaking my mom, and so this was my first time back in a while, and boy, oh boy, the first thing I want to share with you guys about falling into a deeper understanding of yourself is making an effort to reach out and be around like-minded people so that you can see yourself reflected back from them. And being out at the village with all of these friends who supported me for all of those years that I caretook my mom and were able to hug me really big and just give me words of support and encouragement and just to bounce off silliness with, and joke around and be happy, to sing together, to enjoy concerts together, to play together, just to hang out. It was just a thrill. And I found that being out there really deepened my understanding of how much I need to be around other people. It's so easy for us to be on our phones or to sit on the couch or to scroll on our computers or to don't watch the news, and to just feel fractured and isolated. And so my very first point is just the importance of being around people and sparking off of each other's energy. As I was driving down yesterday, I listen to NPR a lot when I'm driving. They have some great programs. And I was tuned into a science type of program. And the first segment that I heard, there was a scientist on that was talking about how similar life matter is everywhere on Earth, in stars and supernovas, on other planets, and how the protons and electrons and atoms all spark off of each other to actually create life and create that energy. And I thought, humans are like that too. Not only physically we are like that. That's how our life, our individual life is sparked, but our mentality and our spirituality is sparked as well. When we are around other people that help, rejuvenate us and help fill us. And again, reflect who we are to ourselves. A lot of times we can be very self-deprecating and we may be joking about it. But I was around some people out there, and recently I've been around people, and I see them self-deprecating themselves in jest. But anytime you're self-deprecating yourself, a lot of times there's a deeper thing going on. And it's like, you do something and go, oh, I'm so stupid. No, please don't say that to yourself. Don't do that to yourselves. Just say, oh, I need to try again. Strike one. I'll try again. Find another encouraging thing to say to yourself in your mind. But on that same science program, there was also a story of this guy that had ridden a train. He was a train geek. And he and his friends liked to train hop. And they were going across the sub-Saharan desert on this old iron ore train. They hopped on the train. I guess they had permission. I don't know. But he didn't say. But they hopped on the train, and it was a 20-hour trek across the sub-Saharan desert. And they had a little bit of provisions with them. They were on top of the train. They weren't inside the train. They were train hopping on top of the train cars. And they had scheduled with some local people at the 10-hour mark, at the halfway mark. The train would stop and refuel, and they would meet the guys at the train station and get some more supplies for the next 10 hours across. Well, the train did not stop. And the guys in the van that had all the gear or all the supplies saw the train fly past, and they're like, whoop. And they start chasing the train across the desert in their vehicle. And the guy telling this story says, successfully, these guys catch up to the train where they are, and the guy that's throwing has really good aim, and like they didn't spill hard. They maybe spilled like one loaf of bread, but other than that, everything else that they were throwing up to them, they got successfully. And one guy was hanging off the side of the train, and the car pulled up and gave him a sack full of stuff. And he said it was just hilarious and adrenaline filled and exhilarating. He said it was like a priceless Indiana Jones moment that you would never think you would live out in your own life. I mean, jumping trains is pretty exciting too, but he said that was like the best experience of that whole adventure that they took. Just that symbiotic connection of people coming up to your rescue and getting you what you needed. And every time they'd catch something, they'd all cheer and go, yeah. And he said that the connectivity of that and the symbiotic exhilaration that they felt working together to do an impossible task and successfully achieve it was just thrilling and amazing. And so again, it's another way of falling into ourselves is trusting other people around you to help give you the support that you need and to receive it gratefully. And that's another part of falling into ourselves as well. Being conscious and aware, being conscious. You know, that's part of consciousness, I suppose. So I was driving into town. I'm a musician, and I live in Atlanta. I live about 30 minutes due north of Atlanta. And when my mom lived with me, I would take her. I do this one senior gig down in town in Decatur, and kind of near where Lane used to live. And when she was up in Atlanta, and I saw a flock of geese. This was about a month ago. I saw a flock of geese going across the highway as I was driving, and I thought, I wonder what goose energy means. And then I got there. Do you ever do that when you see natural things, and it's like, I wonder what the spiritual meaning behind that is, or the Native American lore around that is. I think that all the time. And so I thought about it, and it was a fleeting thought. I have trillions of fleeting thoughts all day long. And I do the gig, and then I'm coming back home. I see another flock of geese. Well, it's not too terribly unusual because it is fall. In Atlanta, we do get the change of seasons. And actually, my house is right on the path where sandhill cranes come down south every year, like right across my neighborhood. It's crazy cool. And every year I can hear them, do that little trill, and I hear them all coming, and I rush out, and you can never really capture it on camera. But it's just an amazing and thrilling sight. Another flock. And so, anywho, I get home and I look up on my phone in about 3 different places what goose energy means. What does it mean? I was very shocked, and it hit home pretty hard. Goose energy means making sure that you are the leader of your own path and that you are following your path and that you are not falling back into the flock and letting someone else lead, and that you are not living in the shadow of someone else's path. And I thought, ooh, that's pretty good. I like that. And, oftentimes we are givers, we are caretakers, we are kind people, we give our service, we're conscious family members, and we want to be on task and help when we can help. And yet there is a fine line of honoring ourselves and making sure that we're taking care of our wants and needs as well, and filling ourselves up with what we need. I was doing a show a few days ago. I'm in a female tribute. I just created a new band called She Rocks. And when you try to dictate it into the phone, it comes up sheetrock. So I have to hand type everything. SheRocksBand.com. But we just did our debut show this past Wednesday at a big club up near me in Woodstock, Georgia. And I was feeling pretty confident. I'm a seasoned professional. I'm 58 years old. Oh, I turned 58 this year. I'm 58 years old, and I've been a professional musician all of my life. And I know the guys in my band. There's 3 other people in the band with me. One of them is my husband. And we had rehearsed, and I felt pretty confident, and I felt pretty good about what was going to happen. And the rehearsals had gone great. All my guys are OCD, and so they do everything perfectly and exactly like the record. So there were no qualms about that. But I got my tarot deck out, and I said, Spirit, I don't have time for a whole reading right now, but I'm just going to draw one card, and I'm connecting with the divine good and with divine consciousness, and I would really appreciate just some clarity of what to remember and what to think about throughout these whole next 8 hours or so of this day and this evening. What do you feel is something that is important for me to remember through all of this process of getting back out there into the public scene again, because I wasn't gigging and doing much when I was taking care of my mom. And so I pull the card, and it was the star card. And I got all excited because I don't have all the cards memorized, but I remember I've seen the star card before, and I'm like, oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. And so I look in the tarot book, and the very first words that my eyes fell upon when I looked up the meaning were, are you ready to be the star of your own life? And I'm like, you know what? I am ready. There was no hesitation there was yes, I am ready to be the star of my own life. And, oftentimes, again, like we're in that flock and we're with a group of people, or we're with a partner, or we're with a family member, and we're tending to them, and we're doing everything we can to support them. And that's beautiful. And it's wonderful to be a nurturer and to have those qualities. And yet there is also something very, very vital and important for each of us as individuals to be clear on our individual path as well, and to not lose ourselves, to find ourselves over and over again, even as we age, even as we shift and change and grow. Find out who are we becoming every single day. And when I pulled that card, I was still not, wasn't quite sure if the cover band and the tribute thing is the way I'm supposed to be going. And when I saw, are you ready to be the star of your own life? I also had the instant realization, it doesn't have to be this or that. It can be this and this and this. There are multiple opportunities out there for us to choose from, and so many phases that we can move in and out of. And so I just invite all of you, also going back to the train guys as well, that were hopping the trains. The guy at the end of his story about the trains, he had said, all of this to say, it's important for us to stay aware of the adventure and the excitement that is possible out there. And when we put ourselves out there, and when we knock on the doors, and when we take some action steps, we go to meetup groups, or we hang out with friends, or we come to church events, or, shows in town, musicals, art museums. Anytime you put yourself out there, and especially in a group event, but even if it's just something that you've wanted to do that you haven't taken the time to do in a long time, even if it's just you taking a walk by yourself in the woods or going to the beach, it's very important to honor our wants and our needs. Because when we don't do that, when we don't fill ourselves up with what rings true for us and with what fulfills us, we start to fade. And we start to get off balance, and we can become sometimes resentful, and we can become, just very exhausted and weary and sad. And so it's important to fill ourselves up with what we want and with what we need. Sometimes when we go out to dinner, my husband and I share a plate of food, or we share a dessert. And anytime there's lemon meringue pie on the menu, I never get it because Eddie doesn't like lemon meringue pie. And I'm like, you know what? From here on out, I'm going to start ordering the lemon meringue pie because that's what I like. But I knew that's kind of a funny example, but it's little things like that, especially if you're in a relationship or you're with another person all the time. It's important to put your needs first. It's nice to honor what they want, but please remember to honor yourself and do those little things that spark happiness and joy in you and that feed you so that you can fill yourself up. I fill myself with strength when I am low. I gently gently tap my brakes and visualize where I am going. I fill myself with confidence and grace, 'cause I have the skills I need inside to keep on flowing. When I'm on empty, that's the time to replenish what is mine. Oh, that is sacred and divine. I fill myself right up with all the awesomeness the world can offer. I'll take that high test stuff. Come on and fill her up. Come on and fill her up. Come on and fill her up. Do the short and sweet version. Remember to fill yourself up with what you love and with what gives you your joy and your energy. Get lost in it. You know, if you have a book that you've got like a year ago and you still haven't sat down to read it, just take a day or so and just sit on your front porch, sit on your sofa, find a comfy place and just do it. Get lost. Because sometimes when we lose ourselves in something that we love, sometimes we do puzzles, especially on the holidays when the kids come, and there will be hours when none of us talk to each other because we are all diligently doing our part of the puzzle, you know, and getting lost in the joy of things can sometimes just be the very, very best, because when we lose ourselves in something that brings us such ecstasy and joy, that's when we find ourselves most of the time. So one more example before I conclude. Again, out at the Village, there was a super awesome guy that I know all you CSL people know, Gary Lynn Floyd, a phenomenal artist. And I had met him a couple of times at Spiritual Living Center Atlanta when he and Jamie Lula were traveling together a lot. They would come to Atlanta on their tours. But I'd never really hung out with Gary a whole lot before, and I got to have a couple of interactions with him out at the Village. He and Karen Drucker were doing a chant workshop, and when I get done with this next segment, I'll give you one of the chants that's on his new album that he shared with us. But at the Village, I went into a workshop about nonviolent communication. Marshall Rosenberg's group of people, and they have all sorts of classes and lessons that you can take. And Lisa, the girl that was facilitating it, Lisa Firestone, she had 2 decks of cards, and they're made by a company called Grok, G-R-O-K. And they're kind of like, you know, angel cards or tarot cards. They're 2 different decks of cards. One of the cards are all your feelings, just one-word feelings, like sad, happy, elated, disappointed feelings. Then the other deck is what you needed: validation, confirmation, understanding, etc. And so she dealt out the feelings cards, and we all got a handful of cards. And then a couple of people talked about a situation that had recently triggered them or made them sad or disappointed or unhappy. And then we all picked a card and showed it to them, and they walked around and saw how we understood what their feelings were, reflected back to them in just a single black and white card. And you can't imagine taking all of the drama and the intonation and inflections and vocal exchanges. Sometimes just seeing things right in front of your face can be so powerful and so healing. And, you know, people would say their piece, and then we would hold up one card that showed what we thought how they felt, and they'd walk around the circle and they'd go, yeah, that's exactly how I felt. And then they would sit down, and then Lisa would say, now, everybody else, what do you think they probably needed out of that situation? What was the core need of that situation? And so we would look on the floor. She had all of the need cards on the floor, and we'd look down there, and we'd pick it up, and we'd show it to the person who's already now sitting down. And the person would be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. I didn't even realize that's what the real deal was. That's what I needed. Sometimes there are actual physical, practical tools that we can use to gain clarity about situations, traumatic situations, you know, get super clear and crystal clear on what we felt and then get super crystal clear on exactly what we need. And even if you don't get the grok cards, you can, write down a list of feelings on index cards and then a list of words that are needs on another set of index cards. And you can do this for yourself or with a partner or with a girls' night out or a church group, conscious group at church or whatever. And, really get clarity. And sometimes when we get clarity about exactly how we felt on the situation, why we were triggered, this is what we felt, and get clear on exactly what we need out of that situation, we don't even have to expend the energy to release it and let it go because it just goes away. It just disappears. Sometimes there's that aha moment, and it's like, I totally get it now. It's gone. Another very quick example, my mom passed away in March, and it was very peaceful. Everything was in divine time, and we're, all good with it, all the family and all of our friends. But, there's still that little part of me that was like, when I'm out and about all the time, I used to take Mother on parade all of the time. We'd call it going on parade. And one day, my friend Tina, my neighbor, was staying in Mom's old apartment downstairs that's on ground level. She had a hip replacement surgery, and her daughter Elise was there visiting her. And I knew Elise. I've known Elise all of her life, but I haven't interacted much with her as an adult because she had moved off and had not really contacted her a lot. I had no idea that Elise was a medium. And so I'm out and about bopping around one day, and Tina's down there, and I come home, and Elise is there, and my other neighbors are there, and party in my basement. And I said, hey, guys, I'm going to take some stuff upstairs. I'll be right back down to hang out. Well, Elise, the daughter, pops up out of the chair. She's like, Jennifer, and she closes the door to the apartment, and we're in the garage area. She's like, I have something I need to tell you, and I hope that you won't be upset by it. I said, what? And I thought, there's something going on. Tina needs something, and she's embarrassed to tell me what she needs. Elise is like, your mother has been coming to me, and is it okay if I share something? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how long? I've known you all your life. How long have you had these gifts? She's like, well, I've been tapping into them for about the past 5 years. And as I had been bopping around, not even 10 minutes earlier, I had said to Mom, hey, Mom, if you were with me right now, I would have already schlepped you in and out of Sam's Club. We would have already gone in and out of Kroger, and now we'd be on our way to Walmart. Remember all the fun times we had going out and about and being on parade? And then I said, and I don't often dwell on it, but I said, hey, Mom, I really hope that you feel like I did a good job when you were with me, and I really hope that you felt loved. I know I got upset sometimes, and as I said when you were here, it was never about you. It was just about the situation, but I always loved you, and I really hope that you felt like I did a good job and that you felt comfortable and loved and wanted. And I didn't get crying or upset about it. I just kind of threw it out there. I know Mom's always with me, whether I can hear her or not. Well, I get home, and Elise leaps off the chair, chases me into the garage, and she says, Jen, your mom has been coming to me a lot. And she said, I guess it's because my mom is here in your mom's space where she was for so long, and I can really feel her. She's been wanting me to tell you these things for like the past 2 weeks, and I just haven't done it because I was nervous to approach you. But she said, when you walked in the door, your mother made me jump out of my chair and come to you and tell you this. And she said, your mom wants me to say, please don't ever doubt the care that you took of me. And please realize that I felt loved and happy to be with you that whole entire time. And there was a part of my mouth just went like, wow. I'm like, Elise, you have no idea. I was just questioning that not even 10 minutes ago. And so all of this to share with you to say, sometimes what keeps us from falling deeper into ourselves is regret or worry about things that may not have been resolved with people that have transitioned and gone on to the other side. And just know, and Elise told me, she's like, your mom is always with you. She is right there. She said, especially when you're down here playing your grand piano, which was in Mom's apartment. She's like, that's when she feels like she can connect with you. Like the very closest is when you're playing piano and doing music. And so I just want all of you to be aware that falling deeper into yourself means forgiving yourself and letting go of any baggage you may be carrying about doubt or worry about people that you may have caretaken along the way, or people that may be on the other side, parents, children, family members, friends, whomever. Know that on the other side, all is forgiven, and they are always right there with you. It is just a veil, as we all say in New Thought. It's just the other side of the veil, and they are always right there with you as your biggest guardian angels. And I always knew this, but when Elise, who I've known all my life, randomly gets jolted out of her chair by my mom's energy and lays that on me, it's like now there's just no doubt. I mean, I kind of chose to believe it because it felt like it was truth. But then sometimes when we're faced with a reality and clarity, again, getting super crystal clear on things, it helps us. Again, that situation is now gone. And it's like 1,000-pound weight has been taken off of my shoulders. And so I invite all of you to be able to take that weight off of your shoulders by telling you that people on the other side are here to support you. Your angels are here to support you always. So I'll leave you with a couple of good quotes about falling deeper into ourselves. Joel Osteen says, "At this very moment, God is working behind the scenes in your life, arranging things in your favor. Stay in faith." Martin Luther says, "Faith is a living, daring confidence in God's grace, so sure and certain that the believer would stake their life on it 1,000 times." And finally, Joshua chapter 1, verse 19 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And so may God give us all the grace to find the confidence and the power and the strength within ourselves. We are all divine, beautiful children of the Most High. And we all have that power within us to connect. We hear it every week. We see it in the words that we read from books. We hear it in the podcasts or whatever we choose to tune into when we're out and about. Just know and be solid and strong in who you are, because you are indeed spectacular. Thank you so much.